All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling the fundamentals of wireless networks, specifically unpacking Chapter 26 from our source material to break down the literal, invisible magic of Wi-Fi. We all use it every single day, right? But today, we're going to reveal exactly how network components take what should be complete, utter chaos and organize it into that seamless, high-speed connection you're probably using right this second.
Seriously, have you ever stopped to think about the sheer absurdity of sending complex data through empty space? I want you to really picture this for a second. How does a massive file, we're talking a 4K video, a heavy PDF, or a live video call, how does it travel through thin air without spilling a single bit of data? There are no physical cables, no visible tracks, just empty space. It feels like magic, doesn't it? But as we're about to see, it's actually just incredibly precise engineering.
To wrap our heads around how this works, we really have to understand the core problem first. On one side, you've got bounded wired networks, like your traditional Ethernet. Here, the data is safe and protected inside a copper or fiber optic cable. It's got a direct, totally private path, and devices can transmit and receive at the exact same time. We call that full duplex. But on the flip side, we have free space wireless. The data is just traveling through unprotected air on shared channels. If that airspace is unmanaged, well, interference isn't just a possibility, it's an absolute guarantee. So how on earth do we fix that?
Section 1. The problem with invisible data.
Okay, so the core of this whole problem comes down to a concept called half-duplex. Because all the devices in a wireless network share the exact same airtime and the same frequency, they absolutely cannot talk over each other. Think of it like being in a super crowded room where literally everyone is trying to shout at the exact same time. It's just noise, right? To prevent catastrophic data collisions, the IEEE 802.11 standard forces devices to operate in this half-duplex mode. Basically, they're forced to take turns. They have to listen to see if the channel is clear before they can speak. If someone else is talking, well, they just have to wait. It inherently limits the medium, and that is exactly why managing wireless traffic is absolutely crucial.
Section 2. Organizing the wireless chaos. So the solution here is to create a closed group. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole foundation of Wi-Fi, the Basic Service Set, or BSS. At the heart of every single BSS is an access point, or AP. You can think of the AP as the essential middleman. Rather than all your devices trying to talk directly to each other and just talking over one another, they all communicate strictly through that access point. The AP controls the coverage area, which we call a cell, and basically wrangles all that chaos on a single wireless channel.
But here's the thing, the AP isn't magic on its own. It needs a lifeline. And this is where the distribution system comes into play. A wireless access point must ultimately connect back to a physical wired network. The AP takes those invisible RF signals, converts them back into your traditional Ethernet frames, and sends them over the distribution system, the wired backbone. This is what actually connects your wireless phone to the internet, or say the rest of your company's enterprise network.
Now you might be wondering, how does this scale up? If you're in a massive office building, you obviously aren't just connecting to one single access point. Well, here's how it works. Step 1, an AP creates its cell. That's the BSS. Step 2, it plugs into the wired LAN, the distribution system. And step 3, multiple APs are linked together sharing the exact same network name, or SSID. This forms an extended service set, or ESS. And this right here is the exact technology that allows you to roam seamlessly from the lobby all the way up to the 10th floor while staying on a video call without ever dropping your connection. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Now, this all sounds fantastic when you're sitting right next to the router. But let me ask you this. What if you are in a sprawling warehouse, or maybe a huge hospital, and the signal simply cannot reach the access point? What do we do then? Section 3. Extending your network's reach. Network engineers actually have a few specific tools to bridge these gaps, but as with everything in networking, each comes with a trade-off. First up, we have repeaters. A repeater basically sits on the edge of your network, catches the signal, and retransmits it. But here's the catch. Because it has to receive and then send on the exact same channel, it effectively cuts your network throughput right in half. Next, we have workgroup bridges. These are super fascinating because they act as a wireless client to give Wi-Fi capabilities to devices that only have wired Ethernet ports. Think of expensive, older medical equipment in hospitals. Finally, mesh networks. In a mesh setup, access points don't actually need a local Ethernet plug. They use wireless backhauls to just relay traffic from one AP to the next until it finally reaches the wired network.
Okay, so we've talked about the network topology, the devices, and the rules of the road. But we've kind of been avoiding the most fundamental physics question here. What is actually physically traveling through the air right now to make all of this happen?
Section 4. How radio frequencies actually work.
I want you to imagine two people standing really far apart holding a long, loose rope. The rope represents free space. Now, if the sender just holds their end up, nothing happens. But if that person starts vigorously shaking their end of the rope up and down, a traveling wave moves all the way along that rope until it reaches the other person. That movement, that actual transfer of energy, is exactly how a signal travels.
So the absolute crucial point here is that your Wi-Fi transmitter acts exactly like that person shaking the rope. It sends an alternating electrical current into a section of wire, which is the antenna. This action creates electric and magnetic fields that travel outward together at right angles. These waves cycle up and down, and the speed at which they cycle is called the frequency, which we measure in hertz. The receiver's antenna then catches these moving fields and converts them right back into the data you're downloading.
But here's where it gets complicated all over again. We are right back to our interference problem. What happens if you live in a dense apartment building and literally all your neighbors start shaking their own ropes at the exact same time in the exact same space? Section 5. Dodging interference, bands and channels.
To handle this, Wi-Fi operates primarily on two different frequency bands. First, the 2.4 GHz band. This one is great because the waves are longer. It travels further and it can easily penetrate walls and physical objects. But because practically everyone uses it, it is incredibly crowded. On the other hand, we have the 5 GHz band. This has a much shorter range and it really struggles with walls, but the trade-off is that it offers massive capacity and significantly less interference.
Now, within these bands, the frequencies are chopped up into smaller slices called channels. And if you use the 2.4 GHz band, well, I'm about to give you a massive pro tip. Look at these magic numbers: channel 1, channel 6, and channel 11. Why do these three matter so much? Because the channels in the 2.4 GHz band are actually so wide that they bleed into and overlap with their neighbors. If you set your router to, say, channel 3, you are bleeding into the channels around you and completely ruining your network's efficiency. Literally only channels 1, 6, and 11 are spaced far enough apart to be completely non-overlapping.
As our need for speed has just skyrocketed over the years, the IEEE 802.11 standard has constantly evolved to better utilize these frequencies. Way back in 1999, the 802.11b amendment gave us a max data rate of just 11 megabits per second. But over the years, through some absolutely incredible engineering in amendments like 802.11n and 802.11ac, we've learned how to leverage both bands and utilize highly advanced radios to achieve speeds near 7 gigabits per second. I mean, we've gone from slowly loading basic text emails to streaming 4K video entirely wirelessly in just a couple of decades. It's wild.
So, as we've seen today, the invisible magic of Wi-Fi is actually a highly orchestrated dance. It's about taking turns, setting up structured access points, and carefully tuning radio waves. It is a complex, beautiful system constantly fighting against the chaotic nature of free space. Which leaves me with one final thought for you to take away. The very next time your home Wi-Fi is dragging, don't just immediately blame the router. Look at your setup. Ask yourself, are you trapped on overlapping channels, just shouting into a crowded room? Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and keep questioning the technology around you.